Okay, so this is a looking at an old theory or an idea. Whether it's right or wrong, no idea, but it's an observation. I remember seeing this back in late 90s, and I remember bringing it up at an online web forum called guardians.net. It's not there anymore. At the same time, the host, he had also thought of the same idea. His name was Andrew, and it's basically this. So we have a cross section of the Great Pyramid, and we have the chambers, we have the shafts that come from the chambers, these lines here. And the idea is this, is that if these shafts actually end here in these little blocks inside the pyramid, we know that from a guy named Rudolf Gattenbrink sent a little robot up here and saw the ends. And what if the pyramid originally was meant to stop here and not go out to the outer edge? So I'll just draw a line to give you the idea. Let's say it was actually meant to be this big, and this was the intentional design, and then they changed it after, right? Same thing basically running down here like this, and it runs across the ends of the shafts. So what would that do? How big would the pyramid be? Well, you'd have to take away this distance from here to here, and that would be the same down at the bottom. So I'll give you the distance down at the bottom here, and I happen to have this up. These are the drawings from Rudolf Gattenbrink's website, and he has it listed here from the center point of this to about 19.56 meters. We want to convert that into Egyptian cubits. So first we need to get it into feet, so if we throw it in here, that's the number of feet it comes out as. So let's go 6446. We go to a calculator. Let's just clear this stuff off. And so we're going to go 64.46 feet. So if we multiply that by 12, it gives us the number of inches. Now to convert that to cubits, we divide by the number of inches in a cubit. So we have the number of inches, and the number of inches in a cubit is about 20.62. So we're going to get about, oops, not multiplied by, oh, what have I done? Let me start over. 64.46 feet. So we're going to multiply that by 12, gives us the number of inches. The number of inches divided by 20.62 gives us about 37.5 cubits. So we look back in here, that's 37.5. So the other side is also 37.5. So if we add them together, we're going to go 37.5 times 275 cubits. Shorter. And this is like an ancillary, just an interesting thing that comes out of this, if that's the theory, right? Is you take what we know, the measurements of the Great Pyramid base in cubits is 440. So if we take away that 75, 365. Now, isn't that an interesting number? Because that's the number of days in a year. And which would kind of make sense in a symbolic way. Whether that's what they meant to do or if this was even a thing, we have no idea. I just thought I'd put it out there. Any pyramid that even comes close to this 365, I believe, is the bent pyramid. I think I brought it up here. The bent pyramid at the shore, and here we have the measurements, and the corner or the bases are worn away, or the stones have fallen or have been taken away along the base. So when you eventually shorten it out 618 feet, you do the same thing to cubits, right? 618 feet. So multiply it by 12 to give us the inches. We divide by 20.62 to give us there 359. So within a couple of inches. So for all intents and purposes, it's 360 cubits, which is interesting because that's the ancient Egyptian calendar was actually 360 days, and then they added these extra 5 as they gave them a different name, but the main core of their calendar was 12 months of 30 days each. So, and that's the closest one, but I just wanted to jump on here and just to give a quick brief overview of what that kind of a theory would have worked out to, or what the pyramid size would have been had that been the intent. If this little area up here at the end of the shafts was meant to be an intentional original design, and that for some reason they decided, let's make it bigger. For what the 400, it ended up being 440 cubits. Why that number? It doesn't seem to immediately pop out, like why 440? And we know that they had to have come up with these numbers, these measurements, before they built the thing. You don't just start piling stones and it ends up how big it ends up. The size was deliberate, so those numbers were chosen, but why they were, well, that's another video and another theory altogether. But in this case, this is the theory that the original design was a bit of a smaller pyramid, possibly. And that's it. Thanks for coming.